Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And, surprisingly, the Determination to Prosper meta rerun has come back, and it's not been a long time since. So, free-to-play Rieger is a fantastic free-to-play unit. He's got a double orb change, 2 oranges to 2 blues, and he's got a double alt swap, so 2 alts to 2 blues. Very generic. There are no restrictions to his kit, so he is a must grab for any player who wants to run a halfway decent blue team that doesn't have some of the good alt swapping characters. He is a really, really good pickup, so it's very important that you get him, at least in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not to 120 if you can't do, EX2, but at least get as many dupes as possible. But because it's only been a few months since Prosper came out, late June, we've only had 3 metas in between it: Ogre's Pride, Protector of Peace, and Antagonist. So there's not really that many teams to showcase that came out afterwards. So I've got 2 videos linked in the video description down below that have all the other teams I used 3 months ago to clear EX2. So if the Ogre's Pride or Antagonist team, you can't run them, take a look at those other videos and you can get an idea of what else you can use. It's 2 videos worth of teams, so hopefully you can find something to do it to get this free copy of Rieger. But as far as the stage goes, they've got some stuff going on. They don't have a lot of attack, but they start stacking it very quickly. They don't have a lot of HP, thank God. But synergy resistance, pierce resistance, physical resistance. This is the big killer, and this is why this video will not feature Protectors of Peace. Because 1, Protectors of Peace is physical. 2, Protectors of Peace is green. 2 things that you just do not want to use in this fight, and I attempted it, and it went terribly. And the Protector of Peace team is also just kind of not great to begin with, so you'll have to forgive me. Hopefully no one's summoned for that team anyways. 50% nerf, yes, you can get around it, but also lowers your physical attack. So on top of having physical resistance, they lower your physical attack, which is a double nerf to the Protectors of Peace team, so really not a good idea. And then Hawkrow is where most of their damage is coming from. Physical attack, pierce rate, space attack, this is what they start stacking up to make them do a lot of damage by turn 6 or 7 for you. So the idea is to either have a defensive team like Prosper, or really burst them down quickly. Alright, starting off with Ogre's Pride, the meta that immediately followed it. Benimaru, Soe, Momiji, so primary units there. And then we're going to bring Visions of Coleus Rimuru so we can really supercharge the EX ult from Momiji and get some decent points from blues and protection gauge. Violet, because she's just really good for this team, just in general. She's got an orb change. Shuna has the turn 1 orb change. If you don't have Shuna, honestly, you can bring free-to-play Rieger if you have him, or just any orange orb changer, realistically. You could actually, a good unit to substitute would be the Wind Geld, because he can give blue orbs away to the highest attacking character, which technically right now is Violet, but if you don't have her up front, they'd go to Momiji. So that would be another way to make sure she has a lot of gauge. And he's 4-star free. You can get him from the flashback shop. But I brought Shuna because I wanted to use her alt buff, but I don't actually use it. So she's here for her orb change and her trait, which gives us extra skill points on turn 2. Coleus Rimuru, yeah. Momiji, the stage does have pierce resistance and synergy resistance, the 2 things that this team is wanting, but Momiji's just too powerful, so we don't need to worry about it too much. The only thing that we do have to worry about is Benimaru. Because we're not going to turn 8, we're not going to get that 100% pierce power. And I don't really know if this team can go to turn 8 without dying. So we're going to go to like turn 5 or something. And they don't have a lot of HP to begin with, so it's going to be okay. Alright, so you could use Soe's orb change, you could use Shuna's orb change, you can use Geld's orb change, you could use Violet's orb change here if you really wanted to. But we're going to use Shuna because it's the dedicated orange, and that leaves us the versatility to have the special converts with Violet and Soe at minimum cost. And as you can see, just from this 6-hand send, their HP levels are not that high. We're doing a decent chunk of damage to them with not even like any buffs going on. So it shouldn't be that bad. Like if you don't have Violet, just bring a different support that's going to give you something. We do too much damage on the overkill anyways with this team, so really unnecessary. Don't worry. Soe is probably like your main unit that you're not going to have because he is just a couple months old. Has not been on a rerun until just right now. Like, not as even as a side featured unit. So maybe people don't have him. But we'll bring Rimuru in. We've got the alt gauge on Blue Charm just to help supercharge the EX alt from Momiji to get it as quick as possible. Because I don't want to sit here for 7 turns trying to fuck around. Which this clip took about half an hour to do anyways, because it just refused to give me Momiji orbs. And I actually contemplated, instead of bringing Shuna, bringing, well, Bride Shuna for the triple orb steal, just so I could guarantee myself Momiji orbs, but we didn't have to resort to that quite yet. So now on turn 3, 113 points, we have 3 Momiji orbs and a decent amount of gauge for her. The 3 rainbows plus the charm will get us the EX alt. So we're going to full convert here with Violet and then Soe, and then we'll bring Coleus Rimuru in to convert everything to rainbow, and that will get us the EX alt, and we'll be ready to go mostly. So there's the full oranges, or full blues, 38 points left over, leaves us just enough to use the rainbow convert, and then he can go away for Shuna, who on turn 4 will also give us extra skill points, which I guess is cool. Not that we're going to need them, because we're going to cap out anyways, so boom, we'll send this on Gobta. We've lowered Yom down enough to where he's going to safely die during the EX alt. So now it's time to lower Gobta, and then maybe Hakuro next turn. But now we have the EX alt. We don't need to keep her up front, and we also don't have an alt swapping character here. So we just need to take her away. We'll put the 1 stack on. We will use one of her skills now because we're going to make back all those points anyway. So now it's time to decide like which one. We're going to do the Pierce and the Fire attack buff. We're going to both Pierce and Synergy with this team, and we're just going to brute force our way through it. It's just which one do I want to use now? We're going to want to use the Pierce and Fire buff because it's the one that you can actually hold. The Synergy resistance down is a debuff, so you can't hold that for an extra turn. We can hold the Pierce, we can hold the Fire, stack of Benimaru, and now we will strategically remove characters here. So we'll bring Rimuru in for Violet, because that'll pull in the orange Violet orb, and that leaves a green for Momiji, which means that when we take her out, we can use Rimuru's self-convert and then Soe's convert, and we can hit all the orbs still. Just being smart about it. And this, because we don't have a lot of SP cap, means that we're going to cap out again, which gives us 250 points, which is enough to use 3 big-time buffs, being the other Momiji skill, the Soe skill, and the Violet skill. So not enough to do like the extra 50% Pierce power on Soe. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna kill. They have almost 200,000 HP at full, and they don't have full HP anymore. So now we're ready to go. We'll bring Momiji in for Shuna, because we're not going to use her buff. We don't need her ult. We don't have the points to use her buff, nor will I use her buff. Like, I guess you could use that instead of the Synergy buff, and you wouldn't nerf yourself at all, but details. We're already getting ult damage from Benimaru stacks, so buff, buff, and buff, and then 1 more stack of Benimaru here. Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and nuke with Momiji, who's going to do about 350, I think. And then follow-up orbs just in case. But Momiji does 364 and then 470 on the other side because she crit. So that's nice. But there we go. That's the Ogre's Pride Momiji, nuking down EX2 fairly easily. Let's move on to the next newest team that is not horribly nerfed in this stage. And next, Antagonist. Strangely, the stage does not nerf orange orbs, so you can go through it. What it does nerf is Pierce, but we're gonna, again, brute force our way through that. So we've got Emils, we've got Violet again, we've brought Rieger this time, we've got Light Milim and 2nd Anniversary Hinata. Now, Light Milim is a very old character, that's why I brought her instead of bringing one of the other like big-time units. And then Hinata, you could easily replace her with either Light Lumi from Light 3.0 or Light Leon. I just want to give Shinsha a light buff, essentially. So in any way, shape, or form you can do to buff Shinsha more than she is already, then go ahead and do that. And then Shinsha has 100% ult damage up for Light and Dark, which she's light, and then also synergy or pierce resistance down, right? Yeah, by 60%, which will overcome the 50% defense that the enemies have. So we're actually going to get something out of the pierce. And this is enough power to kill. We got the magic buff and everything too, so we're going to be okay. Rieger, if you don't have him yet, because this is your first time attempting the stage, again, you could bring Geld, you could bring Water Shuna, you could bring any orange orb changer, essentially. The fact that he's free to play and orange and an alt swap makes him very powerful. So, boom, we'll change with him, we'll bring Shinsha in, and then we'll bring Hinata in because she's got protection gauge Shi underneath her, so we'll just get a little bit extra. And then we'll send this. We're not type advantage, we're type neutral because we're light. No matter what, we're always type neutral. So, we're not going to do that much damage, but again, they don't have that much HP, so you don't need a ridiculous amount of power to get this job done. You just need enough to do 200,000 damage, which is not a big ask now, unless you're brand spanking new. So we've got a double Emils. We've got, unfortunately, not a lot of Shinsha orbs. So kind of unfortunate, but because we do actually have access to an alt swapper, we could use this entire hand, get both her and Rieger's alts, and then just simply swap them away next turn. Whoever gets the rainbow, it doesn't matter. It's only extra skill points and extra protection gauge with another full hand of oranges. So we're not like losing out on any alt gauge because she wasn't rainbow. But we'll spread the damage out. We'll send it on Gobta now. We're getting Pierce. We're still doing extra damage. And now we have two alts. It's going to be 3 Shinsha orbs once we swap our alt away. And that will certainly be enough to get get her EX alt going. And now we'll just bring in characters who we need. And we could either nuke on turn 4, or we could maybe push to turn 5 and have all of the points necessary to do. It really doesn't matter all that much. We've got we have about 105 points. So it's like, do we want to use anything else here? Probably not really. But if we have 130, we have enough to use the magic buff and Shinsha's buff together. So maybe we just do that instead, and we'll just bring Violet in, and then we'll just use Emils. Boom. Full hand of oranges. We'll get the EX alt. Will we get a Violet alt? No, we don't. Okay. Doesn't really matter, though. And then we'll send this damage against Hakuro, because again, we're trying to even their HP pools out so they're all relatively the same. So when the nuke hits, everyone dies at the same time instead of one of them, and then 2 of them are still alive. And then perfect. We got an EX alt, we've got 135 points, and we're ready to nuke. I mean, if you're not confident, you could push another turn and have enough points to use like the element buff and the attack buff from Light Milim. But as you can see here, we don't need to do that, because just the alt buff and the magic buff alone is going to be enough to kill everybody. Right? Yeah, okay, there we go. 199,000, so just shy of 200k, and we're missing 2 of the buffs on this team. So even if you don't have Violet, you could just easily replace her buff with Hinata and Milim's, and you just go to turn 5 or something like that, and maybe store the light buff from Hinata, Lumi, Leon, and then you come back on turn 5 and you apply the attack buff with Milim and the alt buff with Shinsha, and you're still going to have plenty of damage right there. Actually, probably even more than what we had right here. So, Antagonist, unnerfed oranges, magic focused, even though it's pierce, you're lowering their pierce resistance, works very, very well. So that's all I got. Because, again, this is only a 3-month-old team. I haven't had enough time for them to drop multiple blue or orange teams apart from these 2. So if these teams don't do it for you, please check the videos linked in the description below for other teams I used to beat this when it first came out. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you all later.